Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach,
And I'm Pepper.
and today we're reacting to the Spiel des Jahres nominees, which are the big game awards in Germany. I think usually it means I think the winner, at least of the Spiel itself. I think I've heard they get 100,000 copies sold in Germany usually off of it, off the fame. It's a pretty big award. I think it's probably the biggest one in gaming
Yeah.
that I know of. There's probably some other ones that are also big, but
I mean, the
this
not
is a very
so
important one.
awards that we just did earlier this
Yeah,
year
our awards
are
for the first time
maybe
ever.
maybe a little bit more prestigious, but it's
They're
close.
gonna get there. They're gonna get there one day, maybe. Uh, but yeah, so we've got the Kinderspiel des Jahres, Spiel des Jahres, and Kennerspiel, and kind of in that order. Tend to get a little bit heavier. The Kinder is more of like the kids' game of the year, and
Yes,
the
for
Spiel
the
des Jahres kind of
Kinders.
the Kinders in German. Yeah, game of the year, Jahres.
Yes.
So yeah, the middle one's more of kind of a family. It's kind of gone to a family weight. Is maybe the past a little bit heavier. Eventually, I think we need to do a video talking about all the previous winners, but that's for another day. And then Kenner is usually a little bit on the heavier side, but I
Yes.
think that's kind of in some of the recent years come down to be more of what the Spiel used to be. But then
It
I
feels
thought
like it.
now I don't even remember what last year was. I feel like last year there was actually a pretty heavy one, or
Was it
one of the last 2 years was a
the
heavier.
Sky Team? Did Sky Team win did that win which
Did it
one
win
did
the
that win?
Spiel or
Or
Kenner?
that win the Spiel? That might have won the Spiel.
Yeah, you'll pop it in here, Pepper, after
Yeah,
the fact,
we'll
maybe,
pop it in.
maybe.
Maybe.
But yeah, we can go to the awards.
Yes, we're starting off with the Kinders, the Kinderspiel. So
Yeah, and
for
for all of these, they kind of have three nominees and then kind of some special mentions.
yes, so special mentions are down there in the right. I did not look or learn much about those. We got High Low, Syllabus, and Ila a la Vista, which I like that name, and I like the piratey kids piratey thing. So that's my vote of those three, of which I know nothing about. But the actual nominations are Cascadia Jr., and then what is it? Is the Mouse Clan or something? I think translated, and
Yeah.
then Top of the Cake. And Cascadia Jr. is probably the one that we are initially most familiar with, and I'm guessing most people will be because it's based off of the game Cascadia, a huge hit. Did that win
I was just
any
going to say, I
field?
believe that actually won the main Spiel this year. I will
Okay.
look into that.
Yes,
You
you
talk
look it
about the
up.
others.
Yes, so that and I don't know if the others are based on anything, but kind of just Cascadia would be a smaller version, more approachable version of this one. It kind of removes the dual layered kind of tile placement thinkiness of the original, and it's just more of a literally one-dimensional plane of a strategy where you're trying to it does have an additional variant in here where you can try to create the shapes with the different animals, like the bears want to be in a triangle, the elk want to be in a straight line. But I think the main version here is you just want three of a kind of each type of terrain and three of a kind of each type of animal connected to gain scoring tokens, which are either randomly 1 or 2 points. So there's a bit of randomness in there as well. Just a very simplified version of an already pretty approachable game. Did you find
Yeah.
out?
It did. It won it in 2022. That seems like
Ooh,
such a long time ago. It felt more
that
recent than
is
that.
that. It does seem like a long time ago.
And
So,
another note for all of these is you might be, I don't remember this year in particular, but sometime it depends on when Germany has it available. So some games you're like, oh, those have been out for a while. How is that nominated this year? It has to
yeah,
have been in Germany, published in German, um,
yes,
that year. So that's how they determine that. If I don't know for any of these if they are older games or not, but
that's true.
that may be a thing if you are like, yeah, I played that one 2 years ago or something.
That's true. That is true. And I forgot when this is. It's like June or July 13th. When was the date that these will be announced? Uh,
Yeah, I think it's something like
Something like
that.
that. I copied it, but I did not paste it into here. I forgot to do that. But I'll pop it up on the screen there. And then the Mouse Clan one is kind of a memory game. You can see you have a grid of cards there, and you're cooperating to kind of reveal these cards and look at them and see Each has a large, medium, and small sized animal in there, and you are trying to collect 9 teeth by the end of the game. And it'll say you'll flip a card each round, and it'll tell a bunny or something, and then you'll be like, okay, I remember a bunny on this tile, so you flip it over. If it's a small bunny, you get a small tooth. A medium bunny, you get a medium tooth, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
And you want three small, three medium, and three large throughout the game. If you make a mistake, then you lose a moon token, and if you run out of those first, you lose the game. So
Hmm.
a bit of a memory game, cooperative. I don't know if I've seen any like this seems like a classic type of kids game where you're trying to
Hmm.
match things up on the thing, remember where they are. I don't know if there's any cooperative versions of that. Sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, I would agree because yeah, it's a lot nicer to be able to work together in that case because that's one thing I don't love about memory typically is it's like I'm not very great at it myself, but suppose if you're working together, I don't know
So now
quite
you can
how that
disappoint
works.
more than just yourself.
Exactly, I can disappoint my entire team.
Yes. And then top the cake, which I think has my most interest of these bunch. You kind of start out, you can see you have just kind of a bunch of colors in different rows. So each row is a tile that you'll be kind of drafting throughout the game. And each time you add one, if it connects to what's under it, then you get, I think, sugar cubes based on it's printed on there, the little dots and symbols. You get all of those in the connected down as far as you can go for each color that you do connect with. So as you can see there, do they have any good ones? Like their orange kind of connected for their first few tiles there. Their purple was pretty good at the end there. And that just, and the way you're drafting it, you can't line it up. You can't bring it down to line it up, but you can look at them. So you're trying to size it out, I guess. Like, oh, that looks like that's going to line up perfectly for my thing. But then maybe you bring it back and it doesn't quite line up and you don't get anything. But that one looked pretty fun for me. Just that building that up seemed unique.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. I did not look at these ones as closely, but I think I like that one the most as well. Do I think it will win? I feel like the Cascadia one seems like it might be a little bit much, maybe. Maybe
Mm,
not.
well,
Um,
I mean, it's
Memory games tend to
mhm.
be. It kind of seems like the lightest one potentially.
Yeah, I think so. I
So that
think so.
I don't know what typically wins in the Kinderspiel. But the cake one seems pretty interesting. I think that one might have a chance.
Yeah,
But that almost feels. I haven't played it, so I don't know. But that feels like it deserve. It would be more like the Spiel in a
oh,
way,
yeah, yeah,
kind of.
I
I
could
don't
see
know.
it.
It
I
feels
could
like
see it.
that level, possibly. That's the only thing I'm worried about.
Yeah, yeah, that might be the most complex. But it's the one I like the most. So I'll just vote with what I like. If we're doing predictions, I my vote goes for the cake.
Okay.
Cake's gonna
For
take.
voting, I'm going to vote the memory one. La
Okay.
Clan de
So
Squirrels. Mouse.
congratulations, Cascada, you just won.
You just won. That's how good we are.
And then moving on to the Kennerspiel, the true awards for us at this point. And these, you got extra mentions of The Gang, Cowrie, Zenith, and Medical Mysteries NYC Emergency Room. Which you played The Gang.
I played the gang 2 days ago. Yesterday, 2 days ago. Whatever it was.
Did it deserve an actual nomination?
I don't know. It is very much poker. If you like poker, Texas Hold'em poker, it is just pretty much like playing Texas Hold'em poker and understanding kind of what tells people have of how good their hand is based on kind of betting. Um, it's a solid game. I don't know. I'm a little surprised that they would think this is like a that level of game. I don't know if I would have said like, oh, this is a Spiel contender
Yeah,
myself. Even though I love Texas Hold'em, I don't know that it would have been. But I don't know. Maybe it's a very popular game in Germany. I don't know if it is or not.
it's true.
They
That's
love them some Texas Hold'em in Germany. So I mean, if that's the case, then I think it makes sense. But I don't know that's that complex if you know Texas Hold'em. It doesn't. I guess we didn't play with the extra rules. There are like some extra bonus card things you can play with. We didn't quite go to that level, so maybe with those it might be leaning. It'd probably lean towards this because
Mm,
you have to understand how poker works.
yeah. Yeah, that's true. That
But
is
yeah,
true.
the other ones I unfortunately have not played of those ones.
I do like the look of that cowrie one.
I like the look of that one too.
Yeah. But the actual three nominees are Loot, which I just now see is like a boat. It's like a Viking ship. I never thought
No,
of.
no, I did
Um,
not know that
I might
either.
like it less now. Now that I see like that design behind it, I'm like it kind of covers it up, and I don't know if I like it. But we're not judging the covers. Then we have Far Away and Endeavor Deep Sea, which we have played two and a half of these. I would say we have played Endeavor Age of Sail. And this is not an expansion to that. This is a standalone game, and they both have something to do with sea and water. But we have played the other two on Board Game Arena online, and I think you've liked both Faraway and Loot quite a bit, and you like Endeavor a lot as well. So
I
this
know, yeah.
really is your category.
Yeah, this is some bangers here in this category, but it actually, in ways, has me much more interested in Endeavor Deep Sea because I was just like, I've got Endeavor Age of Sail and I really, really like it. But now, since it's been dominated, I've seen a few more people kind of talking about it and stuff. I think a couple have said like it's really good at two players, and I thought that was the part that Endeavor Age of Sail wasn't as
Yeah.
strong at. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm like, maybe I gotta try this one. And I think it is cooperative, isn't it? I think
There,
it's a
I think
cooperative one
there's
or a
options
mode.
to have cooperative, competitive,
Okay,
solo.
maybe that's what I
Yeah.
was thinking. So I'm like, I wasn't like going to get it before, but I'm like, I love Endeavor. It just sail, and it just doesn't get played because need kind of. I feel like you need like three, four, or even I think it goes up to five players. I
Yeah.
think it plays better at that. It's really quick. Um, I might have to get this one. Let me know in the comments below if you've played it at two and think, or maybe you've played both of them and you're like, yeah, this one definitely does feel still similar to kind of that original, but
Yeah.
maybe plays a little better at the lower
Yeah.
player count.
Yeah, it looks like it does. You kind of have that same system of drafting a tile based on your track level, upgrading all these tracks, getting the workers, putting them on the things, clearing them off of the things. I think just kind of the main board is the big difference here, and it does. You're exploring different depths of the ocean and in different tiles, and some of those are kind of like what's in the Age of Sail board, where they have different spots that you're claiming and getting the bonuses in between them. So. I think that's probably why it is better at two players versus this big board where you're unlocking
Hmm.
things. Where this one, it's just like a little mini tile that has those features. So I think this
Okay.
would, I enjoyed Endeavor Age of Sail, so I would not be against you picking up a copy of this one.
Yeah.
And then loot. This one you are placing Vikings out onto a board and claiming tiles, resources based on the places you put them, possibly connecting or surrounding different buildings to gain additional tiles, and all those tiles you're putting onto your player board and trying to surround other possible tiles to complete them for points or just gain put groups together, different things like that. So it's also it feels a little lighter than the original
Mhm.
Endeavor. I don't know how this one's gonna feel. I'm not sure about that. And then Far Away
Mhm.
seems lighter than each of those, uh,
Yes,
which
it
I don't
does.
get.
Far away, you're in the whole game, you're kind of, well, I guess I was going to say drafting. You're kind of making this hand of cards, and then you're playing out cards. You're going to play eight total cards, so it's a very quick game. Actually played this for the first time in the physical form with Michaela last week as well. And yeah, it's a very simple game. The hardest part about it is kind of so when you're initially placing them, you want to kind of put them in a certain order because when you score them at the end of the game, you'll be scoring from the last card you played to the first. So you're keeping them in a specific order based on this is my first one that I laid, the second, third, fourth.
Yeah.
and there are numbers on them that are important for when you're placing them from the left to right, and initially placing them down, that can be important. But then you also have to watch for coming back, so it's kind of a complicated idea, but it's the game itself is, I don't know, quite light. I was a little
Yeah.
surprised that it was in this one, the Kenner. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah, I
it's,
think it'd be too
but the
heavy
idea
for.
is a little complex.
Yeah, the idea is hard to wrap your head around. I wonder, so it's just the previous one you want to be like more than or less than, correct? When
Yes.
you get a new one. I wonder, should you play a variant where you put them on top of each other so you can't even see what you placed before and may forget, add
Ooh, I think
memory aspect.
that'd be too much. Because yeah, you're still going to be trying to get some of the symbols on the
Yeah.
ones. But yeah, that
Yeah,
would be interesting.
I don't know. I feel like
Yeah, this
loot
one.
feels like the sweet spot of
Hmm.
complexity in these two. I feel like Endeavor might be a little much, but it's supposed to be the more gamers game category. But I could see it trending lighter and go with Far Away. Far Away seems like the kind of game that maybe would get
Wins
an
this kind of
award.
award. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'll
I think they're going to go. I think, well, have not played it, so I don't actually know if it is that heavy. I think they're going to go to the heavier side. I think they're going to go Endeavor Deep Sea. I
uh,
was a little surprised at this one being nominated, so that's why I'm going with it because yeah, Far Away, I think makes sense. Loot. It's been a little bit since we played that one. I do remember that I enjoyed it quite a bit. This makes me think I have to definitely go back and play it
yeah,
again. Because I do remember liking it. But
yeah.
yeah, I think that one's kind of just stuck in the middle. I don't remember thinking, even though I liked it, I don't remember thinking like, oh, this thing kind of could be like a Spiel des Jahres,
Yeah.
Kennerspiel des Jahres feeling. Whereas Far Away to me felt like it could be a Spiel des Jahres winner.
Yeah. Think
So I
it's in the
could see
wrong.
that one, but
Think it's
I
in the
don't know.
wrong category. I'm gonna go loot. I'm gonna predict loot.
Okay,
Going with the
that's
underdog.
fair.
And then the Spiel, the Jahres. This one has, oh boy, 3 games and 6 extra nominations of Cities, Perfect Words, Foxy, Castle Combo, Agent Avenue, and Animals of Baker Street. Um,
They missed on this one, Pepper. They
oh,
really missed on it, I think. Castle Combo is the Spiel des Jahres to me. I think that's an amazing game. Not to say these other ones aren't also amazing. I think they probably also are, but I love Castle Combo.
it is. It is really
Cities is
good.
solid too. I can see why that would be kind of a recommended. I can
Mm.
understand that.
And I like
But
this
yeah, like
angle.
Castle Combo and Faraway feel like almost the same thing to me, so that's why it's so
They
weird to me
do.
that
They
they're
do.
in different ones. But
Yeah, and maybe it's because we played them around the same time, but
yeah.
they do seem about the same. I like the Animals of Baker Street and Agent Avenue covers. Those are drawing me in quite a bit. I don't know how they play, but yeah. But on to the 3 nominations: Bomb Busters, Flip 7, and Crackle Oracle.
There's definitely one that I'm very interested in playing. Would
Ooh,
you agree on that or not? Or are you
I
not
would say
that
there's
interested?
one that I'm more
I
interested
think
in than
more interested in than the others, but I'm actually interested in all three. I think
yeah,
I do like the choices, even though I've not played any of them.
yeah.
Um, I'm really interested in trying Bomb Busters.
Okay, okay.
I think it might just end up being one that I just don't end up liking, but I like the idea of that
Mhm.
style of game, cooperative game, where you're kind of utilizing. I think you get to like you got these wires in front of you, and you're trying not to like cut these red wires, and you can give like one clue. I think at the beginning, and they're in
Yeah.
numerical order. So like if you say like, oh, this is a one, my third one in is a one. Well, now they know all three of yours are your first three are ones or something like that. Um, just trying to figure those things out. I usually like those kind of things, and then
Mm.
it sounds like it's got all those missions, 66 missions. So I'm guessing it gets kind of harder and harder. Makes me think a little bit of like the Crew kind of thing, and I just tend to like those style of games, and I think this is a little bit easier than something like the Crew because that you have to understand trick taking.
Oh, yep.
I don't think you have to come into this one have not played it, so maybe you do have to kind of have some I don't know what knowledge of something, but I think you could go into this one without. having some prior knowledge of something.
Yeah.
Whereas like a game like The Crew, if you don't know how to trick take, I feel like trick taking is already something that takes a little bit of knowledge to understand. If someone knows how to do it and the other one doesn't, they might be expecting you to do something, and then you do something completely different, and you're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, what are you doing?" Uh, but that's why I'm very interested in that one.
Yeah, I'm a little more in, I mean, I just feel like I put too much pressure on myself on that to give the right information. I'm like,
Hmm.
sometimes you give information, it's like, oh, well, that's not really that helpful now that I think about it, what I just
Right.
gave, and then you feel stupid. So there's a little bit of that, but I mean, that just comes down to how you play games and how you feel about them. So that one wasn't as enticing to me. I like the simplicity of Flip 7. A bit of
Yes, I
push your
agree.
luck with the flipping the cards. There's 0 through 12. There's an amount of cards of each equal to its value. So there would be no zero card. Don't know why I
I
thought
I
that,
think
but
there actually was a zero
there's
card.
a zero card?
I
Okay.
because I thought after seeing that this was nominated, I thought I watched something. I thought someone said a zero card, even though when they explained it, it would not make sense to have a zero card. But I
Okay,
thought
there
they
is.
said there was one. I could be wrong. I may be
Okay.
misheard. But I
Okay.
thought they said there was a zero.
Okay, so yeah, so there's 12 12s, and you want the high value ones, but you drawing one at a time. I think everyone's simultaneously choosing to hit or stay,
Hmm.
and they draw cards from the top of the deck, and you want the highest total to add to your score at the end of each round. I think it's a race to 200 points or something. And if you ever repeat a number, then you bust. You lose all your points. So if you get a 12, 11, 10, 9, it's like, oh, this is a great round, and you decide to push it for some reason, and you get another 9, you lose everything. But there are a couple special cards in there. Maybe you get a second chance card to save along to avoid busting once, or you get a freeze card to tell someone else to stop, or draw extra cards. I just thought that was cool. Plus the modifier cards that can add extra while not counting towards your kind of busting values, or possibly the only card I'm going to be searching for in the whole game, the times two card. I think that's what the game
Yeah,
is all about. I don't know
it
how it's
really
in there,
sounded like it.
but I'm like, ooh, I really want to get that times two. That times two has got me really wanting to play this game.
I think it's on Board Game Arena, so I think this is. I think out of these three, it's the only one on Board Game Arena. So I think that will be the first one we probably get a chance to try out of these, unless you have copies of the other ones, Pepper. But yeah, it sounds like an interesting push your luck concept. I like what it sounds like it's doing. It could
Mm,
be frustrating where you just end up, picking your first card, get a two, somehow you pick the other two, and it's
yeah.
like, wow, what are the odds? This is terrible. Things like that are going to happen, I think, in this type of game. But yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds like a good time.
Yes. And then lastly, we have this scribble drawing game mixed
Is this
with
the one you're excited about? More excited, or no? Or Flip
no,
Seven
that
was?
Flip 7 was the one I
Okay.
was most excited about. So this one also looks very cool. Each player gets one of these boards, as you can see, with these dotted lines, and you each get a word that you will be drawing. Everyone has their own individual one, and you try to draw the shape by following the pre-printed lines, filling them in a way that you can hopefully convey what your image is that you're trying to draw. As you can see, it can be a little hard here. I don't know what this is. Just got this image. I'm guessing like heartbroken, something like that. I don't know.
I like
Um,
happy. Unfortunately, in the circle of the face I drew of him, he only had a sad face.
it was the only option. Why didn't you leave it blank? I don't know. But then yeah, then once everyone does that, everyone puts their cards in, and they draw another amount of cards equal to the number of players. So you have twice the amount of cards. Put them out in a grid, and similar to kind of code names, each player takes one turn eliminating one card that they think is not amongst the ones that everyone selected at the start. So you'll have some decoy cards. Could be very easy, and you'd be like, "Oh, that's obviously nothing we drew." Or it could possibly be something that might be close to what was drawn. That also seems pretty cool. I don't know. I think it really depends how that board works and if it feels like here. I feel like I assume those are stick figures. I feel like it was pretty easy to convey the stick figures. So I don't know if it's going to be hard or easy, or if those extra cards will be easy to kind of lead you astray or not. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what it all comes down to. But it's a cool concept.
Yeah, I like the concept. It's one of those things where I'm like, if I knew like a family member really liked Pictionary, which is a game I guess I'm fine with, but can sometimes be frustrating. Sometimes you got better drawers than other people. I think this kind of evens the playing field, maybe a little bit, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
think the artistic people probably could have a better eye for it than I've never
Yeah.
played it, so I don't know. Maybe not, but I would think that they would still have a better eye for it than maybe someone that didn't. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it'd actually be harder. I'd like to think that it would even it a little bit, but maybe it would make it even harder for people that are already, like myself, not the greatest drawers. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it seems like a fun idea.
For
Like
sure.
you said, I don't know what the images end up being that you're trying to draw. If it's
Like,
just too complicated,
yeah. If I'm
that could
getting
be frustrating.
toaster, if I'm getting toaster, I don't know if that's the prompt, but I'm like, I don't know what I would do to put
Yeah, that'd be the main worry.
tree or so yeah, it's hard. I think that's just going to come down to your brain, how it's wired, and if you can function at all in this game. But
Yeah.
so I assume you're going to be predicting bomb busters.
I, I'm actually predicting that Flip 7 will win.
Ooh, okay. Well, now
But
I
I'm
got
most
to predict.
interested in Bomb Busters.
Okay, okay. I'll predict then to keep it separate to maybe be the tiebreaker. I'll predict bomb busters.
Wow. Did
Ooh,
you actually think that before I picked, or did you just
I
switch that?
I've I felt like it was between those two, so it's definitely going to
Yeah.
be Crackle. But I was like,
Yeah,
he'll
it's gonna be funny. It's gonna be all three that we didn't pick.
will be. Um, but we'll know what to do next year.
Exactly.
I was thinking, yeah, it's got to be one of those two. I was thinking maybe Bomb Busters probably had a slight advantage, but you
Okay.
never know. So,
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, let us know in the comments below who you think is going to win. If you think any of the kind of honorable mentions should have been in the three choices instead, or which ones you've played, which ones you haven't, which ones you recommend playing, even in some of the recommended that we did not talk about that we didn't know anything about, because we'd love to play games that are award winning worthy.
yes.
Award nominated worthy. I was like, what words am I looking for here? Award worthy, we will say. But yeah, if you liked the video, and give us a thumbs up, subscribe for future content. I'm sure we will react when the winners are announced. So if you want to see that, you can subscribe and ring the notification bell if that's still a thing. I don't even know if that's still a thing. I know they always change stuff up. So, yeah, otherwise, we appreciate you watching. And as always, don't forget to keep on nibbling on our content.